can we talk about something somewhat controversial,
Yeah.
which is the choice of Bella Ramsey as
Oh
Ellie?
no.
Okay, I'll give you some thoughts. So, personally, hello and welcome back to another episode of the Nerd Cassette. We are your hosts. I am Gato,
And I'm Gabe.
and today we want to talk to you about The Last of Us. And I think I should say right now, off the bat, spoiler warning, we will be talking about things that happen both in the game and the show. So if you haven't seen it or played the game and you want to, I would recommend come back after you watch the beginning of season 2 or you've played The Last of Us Part 2. Because boy, I mean, at this point, you either already know what's happening or you're probably not even recommended to our podcast. But
Did you see the articles already
I haven't seen any
about
articles
Last of Us?
actually.
Apparently, I just saw a headline. I didn't read it, but apparently, there's some review bombing going on because
Really?
of episode 2.
Okay, so let's get into it. I mean, gamers, I feel like most gamers played that game or knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Were you one of them?
Did I know from the game
Yeah.
what was gonna happen in the
Yeah.
show? Yeah, for
So
sure.
because you did play,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yep, played it, loved it. I'm one of the few that actually like it,
Yeah.
which is funny. In the beginning, it was so polarizing, whether you hated it or loved it. And then it's funny because you see a lot of the people that do like the video essays, the ones that's hated it in the beginning, and then they're slowly starting to like it. And so I was like, I was prepared. I was actually not surprised that it happened for the show,
Right.
because it's funny to see the parallels. I was thinking, I was like, it's not gonna happen with the show, and then lo and behold, it happens.
So I when it comes to the game, like I played the first one. The second one, I watched people play it, but I didn't get very far.
Did you like watch a Let's Play on
Yeah.
YouTube or
Mhm.
something?
Yeah.
Mm.
But that was one of the few that I didn't finish, and it wasn't because of what happened. So, spoiler alert, Joel dies. I feel like we need to specify this is what we're talking about. We're talking about Joel dying.
Yes. Yeah.
So I knew that he died, but that wasn't why I stopped watching it. I don't know. It's just one of those things that I'm like, oh yeah, I like this, and then it wasn't as intense as the first game for me, and I think that's why I stopped watching it. So the truth is, I don't know what happens later in the game, but I knew that Joel died, um, and I knew that Ellie saw him die. Um, I didn't know the reason why this girl killed him, but I figured it was something like that. I mean,
Like a revenge plot.
yeah, I don't know. It just makes sense. Like it's kind of like The Walking Dead. Like, have you've seen The Walking Dead, right? How
Yep.
far did you get?
Unfortunately. Yeah, we finished it.
Oh, you did. Okay, not even.
Such a drag. The last season was such a drag.
I didn't even finish it, but you. I feel like in The Walking Dead, you start following this group with Rick Grimes, and they're the good guys. But at some point, you know they're not the good guys anymore. Like Rick just goes into any like community and he's like, "We're taking your houses and we're taking your food, and you're all gonna do what I say, or else I'm gonna shoot you in the head." And
Yep.
it's a
Yep.
really bad impersonation of Rick Grimes, but
I thought it was good.
I think it just gets to this point where I mean, in situ, you know, realistically speaking, situations like this, if they were to happen, I don't think you can be the good person all the time. You have to make tough
Yeah.
choices. And Joel, when we first encounter him in the game, like we know that he's not a good guy. We know that he's like a thief or a bounty hunter or something like that.
Yeah.
What is he?
There was dialogue in the beginning, in the game at least,
Mm-hmm.
where her and I forgot. Wow, I forget the friend, the lady friend,
Yeah,
saying we're bad people, we're not good people,
yeah.
and you've seen how he tortures people, so you know he's learned a thing or two about being
Mm-hmm.
bad.
Mm-hmm. So he makes some good choices in the game, obviously. Um, Choices that are good selfishly. I mean, it's one of those really tough situations where it's like, this is the ethical thing to do is to save this girl's life and kill, 18 people over it? Or is it more ethical to let them kill her to save the rest of the world? But that's the thing is like that in itself, like if you don't have any attachment to this character, to this person, you would be like, what a bad person he is. Like that he
What a
would
bad parent.
selfishly
Yeah.
save one person's life when that one person's sacrifice could have saved humanity. I mean, what?
Yeah, yeah. You want to get into that?
I mean, that's the thing is like, I'm curious to know what our listeners and viewers like have to say about that. Like, what are your, which way are you leaning? Like, do you lean towards him being like, no, the moral thing to do here is save this girl, no matter the cost, or are you more of like, man, that's selfish. He should have just let her die.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I've talked about this a lot with my wife on it,
Mm-hmm.
and I've heard my share of video essays, and the crazy thing is that I get that she's mad about it, right? I get that she's upset because that choice was taken away from her.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard to figure out in that moment. It's hard to figure out what. No one knew. Joel and Ellie didn't know that death was on the table,
Right.
right? And so it's hard to figure out. I'm sure if, well, I don't know, maybe Joel still, even if Ellie told, if she knew that she was going to die trying to figure out this thing, maybe she would have said, yeah, it's okay for me to die. And then Joel would have been fine with that. Wow. Wow. This topics make me choke up.
You got a tick.
Yeah, I got the frog in my throat. So it's the idea that it's hard to make a choice when you don't have all the information, right? As for Ellie, so it's right that she's upset because she took this. I think with hindsight, because she has the hindsight of I would have saved the world, right? If I had gone under this thing, right? And so with that in mind, she would, yeah, of course you can kill me. But when we went into it, we didn't know that. Well, she didn't know that she was gonna die. She
Mm-hmm.
didn't know if this was gonna work, and maybe she would have said yes, kill me. But then Joel probably would have. I don't know. I don't think he would have accepted that, regardless. So I think the result would have been the same. But the problem is that, and I've seen a lot of people's analysis of this and their theories, and the doctor is a vet, right?
Hmm.
He's not a brain surgeon. This is a possibility to find a cure, right? And you think about if they even found a cure, how they were going to distribute that,
It's
right?
true.
That
It's
and then knowing them that they are fireflies, they probably would have had a like a like a capitalist mindset, hoarding all the vaccines and selecting people.
Yeah.
So it would have been just bad regardless.
Uh, that's actually a really good point, and that's true. I think we're the way I was looking at it just now is like, oh well, they were gonna make the vaccine, but it's no, they were gonna try. So she could have died and nothing come out of it, and it's just kind of like there's no certainty.
All for nothing, right?
So
Yeah.
then that there's more weight to that. It's like, is it worth it to sacrifice this one person just for that small chance that it could possibly do some good? But then once that good is there, you're right. Like, are they just gonna be like, oh no, like we give this only to the people that we care about? Because then it could still be
Yeah.
used for evil.
Yeah. The
Um,
question is, would you let yourself die for a possibility?
oof, that,
Would you sacrifice yourself?
bruh. No.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to be like, oh, of course, I'll sacrifice myself for humanity. No, you're not. It, I
I
think
would I
that's
would
a,
like to think I would, right? If I wasn't a father, if I wasn't a husband, yeah, I'd be fine with giving it up.
I think yeah,
I
I
think.
think it really, situations matter. I mean, are you
Right?
young? Are you
Context.
old? Are you gonna die soon anyway? Is your life good? Is your life bad? Does it matter? Like, I think there's a lot of different variables, but
I would have liked to know the percentage of possibility.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. I
if it
mean,
was like 30%, I'm like, not worth it.
because all life is precious, and like I want to live. I mean, even if the world's like all destroyed like this, then um, if there's means to survive, then I would like to take those chances. Um, but yeah, I don't think I would. I think I'd be like, nah, I want to live. Figure something
Okay,
else out.
next question. If your spouse or someone you knew in your family, niece or nephew or grandparent or somebody, right? Somebody that you knew says, you know what, I will give up myself for that. Would you let them?
Well, that's okay.
I guess if they're an adult, that'd be fine, right? Because they can make their own. The differing factor is that this is a child, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are they capable of making this decision?
Right. Because
And on
they,
top of that,
how
it
old
wasn't
is
even his own kid.
Ellie? She's 14, right? Or
I think she
15?
was 14, yeah.
Yeah, I think she was 14.
9 years later, 19, yeah, 14.
See, the thing is, I know 20-year-olds that make decisions, big decisions, and regret them a year later. Like 1 year is long enough for them to be like, "Wow, what I did a year ago was really stupid,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I regret it." So,
Yeah, no,
but that's the thing. That we're talking about an adult. So when it comes to like a child, 14, 15-year old, it's I in in the real world, if they I don't know. I
it's,
think
yeah.
if you're the parent, I think you do have the a right to be like, no, you can't do this. As your parent and guardian, like not until you're an adult. But also, I think it shouldn't be as simple as like, no, because I say so. I think it should come with the reasoning behind it as to why it's not a good decision. But if they're an adult, I don't think there's much you can do. I think
I know, right?
you can
It's
plead with them and tell them like, hey, look, these are my points, but ultimately it is their decision. Um,
it'd be essentially like someone, your spouse or someone, this adult family member is asking you to euthanize them, right?
Yeah.
And that's a whole topic. There's a whole thing about that where, yeah, the whole assisted de-unaliving. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I have to use that word.
Yeah.
Um, but here's, yeah, so like the weird thing in Joel's case, he's bringing this cargo, right? He treats her as cargo. In the beginning, if this journey was like a day, I think he would have been fine with letting him die or letting them take her, right?
Yeah.
But because he created this attachment, father figure, proxy father figure, he became attached, right? And then he still made the decision, even though he wasn't the biological father. So technically, he didn't have that right. So then, I don't know. That
So
seems like that's such a gray area,
it is, but I think this is why this point in the story is so good because
right?
from her perspective, from what's her name? Not Ellie, the girl.
The friend. Oh man, I keep forgetting.
The no, the killer, the guy that the girl that goes for revenge.
Oh, Abby.
Abby.
Yeah.
If you look at it from her perspective, they've always been the good guys, right? They're like, oh my gosh, like we found this girl who's immune, and we're gonna see if we can create a vaccine or a cure, and they're bringing her over right now, and we're going through all of these like obstacles to get her here so that we can try and save the world. And
Yeah.
then they bring her over, and then this guy just goes wild and starts killing everyone, including her dad, who, even though he's a vet, he was technically unarmed. He was the first one that gets killed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, from her perspective, yeah, Joel's the bad guy who is selfish and just killed a bunch of people and ran away. So, so
It's
that's my point, is that story wise, it makes sense that something would come back and bite him, basically.
yeah.
Um,
It's such a good direction to take the story because as the in the game, you make all these choices, killing and all that stuff, realizing they don't have actions. You think they don't have actions, but they do. And I think they illustrated it well. They introduced the whole Eugene character into the second episode, where the
mhm.
therapist's husband, and that was like another interesting take of every action has a consequence. So that's in addition to the decision he made with Ellie, is the decision he made to put down. I guess the word they used was Eugene. Right? Even though it was I think it was in the right. I don't remember Eugene's death specifically,
I
but I think it was
don't
along the
either.
lines. I think it was along the lines where he was turning and he put him down.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
so that
I couldn't
seems like
remember
a
that part.
logical choice, right?
Yeah.
But of course, you still can't control the consequences in which the wife, the grieving widow, is upset about it,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Now, as far and when going back to a comparison between game and movie, in the game, you don't know why she kills Joel. Not until later.
Yeah, no, no,
Like
not.
you're just playing as this character, and then they get attacked by a bunch of, mushroom zombies, and then Joel and his brother, it's not Tony. What's his name? What's his brother's name?
Um. Oh my gosh,
Oh, what the?
Gabriel.
No, that's his real name.
Oh, that's his actor. Whoops.
That's the actor's name. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, why am I
Here,
drawing a
I
blank
got
right
I
now?
got it. Oh, Tommy.
Tommy. My gosh.
Yeah. So it's Tommy that's with him.
Yeah.
Um, and then they introduce themselves, and then she's like, "You're Joel," and then it's just like no mercy, just straight into like shot, and then they kill
Oh
him
no.
when Ellie comes to the rescue. And in the game, this is the incentive for them to go on this game because now they're hunting for Abby, right? But you still play as Abby after you've killed Joel,
Yeah.
And it kind of shows you that this is how you find out that she killed him because Joel killed her dad. And in the show, they just straight up tell you from like episode 1, we start with them at
Yeah.
the park, at Liberty Park up here in Salt Lake City.
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
Oh man.
and so you know exactly why she's hunting him, which I like and I don't, because I
I
feel
totally know what you mean.
I feel, even though I knew that Joel was gonna die, I feel like episode 2 was too soon, and I was kind of hoping that they would extend his life to episode 4 or 5 and build up a little bit more, because going straight into it and he just dies, I didn't feel as sad as I feel like I should have. That's just me though.
No, no, no. Let me think. You have a point there. I think I wasn't as invested because I knew. You know what? No.
That's a
When the
possibility
scene
too.
came when they were attacking her, right? When attacking him, it was. I still felt tension. I still felt like anxious in that
Yes.
scene, even though I knew what was gonna happen.
Yes.
So that was good. The the approach they took, where they immediately tell the audience what her motivation is, why she's doing what she did, that felt rushed to me
Yeah.
because they just, I don't know. Like one of the complaints in the game was that the one of the complaints was you have to play Abby, but that's because you know that she kills Joel like within the first couple minutes of the game. But then it was the idea that it didn't build up to it either in the game. Like it
Oh,
didn't tell
true.
you the reason why she killed Joel until like way later in the game. And so that was like that's why people hated playing Abby. And so I think they try to mitigate that with the storytelling in the beginning of season 2. I think that's kind of their way of addressing that. But I think it was a little rushed still.
Yeah. I just wish that they had either kept it a mystery, just like they did in the game. Like you don't know
Yeah.
why it
Yeah.
happened, because then I feel like that would have brought in a little more shock value to his death, rather than like, oh no, like we know that she's hunting him, and it's just kind of like, oh, but they're not gonna kill him off, and then bam, right? But along with that, if they had kept it a mystery, then I really would have liked them to build up the tension a little bit more. The episode
Yeah.
the episode was
Yeah.
fine. I love that episode. It was so good. The
Yeah.
battle,
It was good.
it was so good.
Oh my gosh. That was so good.
But
That was like Helm's Deep, but with zombies.
oh, I was gonna say like
Oh,
the
and then you have the orc that blasts the door and everyone rocks in.
oh yeah.
Yeah, that was very Helm's Deep like, yeah.
I was thinking it was like the Last Watch, or the Long Night from Game of Thrones.
Oh, never seen that.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I've not seen Game of Thrones.
Ah,
And it's funny because there's a lot of comparisons that I've seen. Red
that
Wedding. It's like this is the Last of Us equivalent of the Red Wedding. I'm like, whatever that means.
I would say it's more like the Long Night. I know that I've seen that too, that
Uh,
comparison, but um what was I saying? Oh, yeah, the episode was fine. I just wish it had happened later. And they could have, I don't know, just add more to it. Just more tension. You got a ghost?
Anyway, yeah, as usual. I'm telling you, there's a timer on like 8 to 10 p.m. that sounds start happening around the house. I think people are in the attic. People
Oh.
living in their attic. Anyway, yeah, I don't. You know, one of the things I wish they did in the game was you played as Abby in the beginning, in the past, and then you're at the hospital and realizing that your dad is getting murdered by someone you don't know, right? So you start off the story as Abby. You have your relationship with your dad. He gets killed by somebody, and then you realize later in the game, that it was Joel. So then you create that really strong contrast, right? That would have been great, and I was hoping they would do something like that in the show, but I still think they kept faithful to the game. I'll say that, right?
Yeah, I guess. Okay. You know what I think I would have liked seeing? We take that group off 100% off the first episode. Like, we don't see them at all. We should focus on Joel and Ellie having that tension between them. And we can take more into the patrols, right? Like seeing that there's maybe a couple of zombies here and there, something like that. But keep it kind of grounded. And I think maybe a second episode would have been good to go into Abby's life in the past. And no, hold on. Sorry. We introduce Abby's group friend traveling, right? From Seattle or whatever down to wherever they are. We know that they're looking for something, and it would have been cool to make the viewer attached to this group
right away,
and like make us like them, make us feel like they're gonna be helping this group, or that they're gonna start a trade route or something. I don't know, like just create something that's to the viewer would be like, oh my gosh, this group is really cool. Like I hope that they find each other, because that would be so cool to see them collaborate, right? So then we have a second episode where we're now introduced to Abby and her group. We don't know anything about them except that they're a cool group of people and they're like proficient at what they do. And we still build up a little bit of the tension, you know, back at home, maybe even to get you to that point of like, oh, is Ellie maybe gonna leave with this group and Joel's gonna stay behind, because I don't know, whatever. And then in the third episode, now that we know Abby and her group, we go into Abby's past. And the whole episode is leading up to her going to see her dad and then finding out that she just got killed by Joel. So we don't even see that they're in the past. Like we could, or that we're in that past. We can just make it seem that she's in her own little world. And then someone's like, oh yeah, your dad, like he's making this for you. Like, I don't know, make you want to like see her
attached to the dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. The relationship, right? With the
And then we reveal that her dad is getting ready to perform surgery, and he's like, "Oh, I'm headed to the Salt Lake Hospital to operate on the girl. I'm bummed that I have to do this, but I hope that this brings hope to the world." You know, like even give him like a little bit of a spark of like, "Oh man, he really just wanted to do good. Like he's not a bad person." And then that's when the viewer would realize, "Oh no." And then it ends with her finding out that Joel killed the dad. And then we
cool, like, yeah.
And then we go
like
into
the last
episode
shot
4.
of like the episode, right?
Yeah.
Last episode of episode 3 would be the doctor going in, and then it pulls the shot, and it reveals the patient, and then it's Ellie, right?
Yeah.
And it cuts to black, right? Something. So the final connection is, oh, this doctor is related to this new character we're introduced, and this doctor is operating on Ellie, the character we just realized was from season 1, right?
And then that
would have been such a good reveal.
Yeah, and then episode 4 could start with them going on patrols and the group reaching the cabin, and then that whole thing happens, and it increases everything. It increases the tension, because now you're attached to this group, but now you know that they're hunting Joel, and now you know what's at stake. I don't
Yeah.
know. That's just me. I'm curious.
No, I love that.
Like, ah, anyway, wasted opportunity, Max. It's fine.
Yeah, they've been so good to. I wish they capitalized on that because in the game you didn't know who they were hunting for,
Mm-hmm.
and you just say, "Oh, there's the campsite. Go there." And then that would have been so much better because I liked the idea of the confusion of who to root for,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you were in that torture scene or the killing scene, you're like, yeah, Joel deserves it. But then you're like, no, it's my Joel, my character. You know, one of the biggest things, like I loved the sequence in the game. I don't know if you got this far, where there's a part where Abby finally catches up to Ellie, and they're having a big battle there, right? They have a confrontation, and there's a point where Ellie has to run because Abby has a gun. And so Abby's chasing Ellie through this theater, and then you control Abby.
Oh.
And that was like the coolest sequence because I was so conflicted on what to do. And I'm running, knowing I have to run towards Ellie because I'm playing Abby. I have to be Abby. And then I'm running towards, I see Ellie, and I start shooting her. I do the aim and I start shooting her. And that's when Brittany was like, "What are you doing? Stop." And I was like, "I'm Abby. I'm supposed to shoot her because I'm playing this character." And it was such a cool moment because I was like, I know I'm supposed to be this character, but I'm like so conflicted because I know the other side. And that was such a cool moment. And I was hoping that that sort of thing would be replicated in the show, and
Yeah.
they just revealed it too early.
Yeah. Again, I think they should have expanded on it. They could have done so much. And I talked to a friend of mine about it, and they're like, "Well, but there's so much story going on after like Joel dies, so like you kind of need that." I'm like, they already greenlit season 3. If they knew that this was a successful like series, they could have just gone with that. I mean, you could even extend it to 4 seasons if you want it. You can go
I
past that
know.
if they want. Um, but yeah, I think they could have taken their time. And the only thing I wonder is if they decided not to do that, not because of a creative thing, not a creative stance, but rather because Pedro Pascal is in everything right now. So he
Seriously.
probably is like, hey, I don't have time to do the show. I need to go do Fantastic Four, and I need to go do what's the other show that he's in?
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Well, he was in Gladiator 2, and even that he wasn't in there like that much. Uh, he's in another show. Just can't think what it is, but he's everywhere.
Yeah.
So that could have been part of it.
Nah, I don't know. I would think Last of Us was on the top of his priority list. Though
I
just
would have thought
conveniently
so.
that he gets killed off, so he's not as in the show. But I'm pretty sure he'll be in just as much, just with flashbacks.
Yeah.
Um, the crazy thing is, I was curious. I was excited how they were going to do season 2 because in the game you play as Ellie. You find out Abby kills Ellie, and so the first part of the game, the first act, you're just finding this Abby girl, and then second act comes, you're playing as Abby, and it's such a shock because you're like, wait a second. You go day 1, day 2, day 3, and then all of a sudden it goes back to day 1, and then fades to you playing as Abby, and I was like, whoa, how are they gonna do this in the show? I was thinking all of season 2 was gonna be um, the same format, Ellie's perspective, and then season 3 would be Abby's perspective. But it seems like they already are doing that now,
Yeah,
which
they're
is I don't
they're
know
just
how they're
going back
gonna
and forth, which I mean, for a
like.
show,
It would be so jarring to do it like that as a show, right?
Yeah, if it was like too much, you mean? Like too focused on
Yeah,
one
like people
character.
going into season 3, all of a sudden a new character. You're like, what the heck? I don't want to watch this. So
Oh.
I don't know. My guess is that when season 2 ends, it's gonna be right at that sequence I was telling you about in the game, where they finally come face to face,
Hmm.
and then that's when season 3 starts, because that's just act 2, and there's a third act, and that third act is just as long.
Hmm. I just realized that season 2 only has 7 episodes. So
Oh, I didn't know that.
I don't know. I thought it
How
was
much did the first one have? 10?
9.
Mm,
Hmm.
interesting.
Yeah. Uh,
7 episodes.
can we talk about something somewhat controversial,
Yeah.
which is the choice of Bella Ramsey as Ellie?
Oh,
Okay, I'll give you some thoughts. Personally, I don't care. I have been picky about actors portraying characters and seeing how some may fit a character better than other actors. And there's definitely tons of that going on where like decisions made for certain characters just don't make any sense. It's kind of like why? Now, specifically talking about The Last of Us, I think a lot of people are too focused on the look. And Bella Ramsey doesn't look anything like the Ellie from the game. The game, I think, wasn't the girl based off of Ellen Page?
yeah, yeah, Ellen Page, and then they got in trouble, and so they changed it, and now it's no longer Ellen Page.
Yeah. So, um, when I first saw that she was cast as Ellie, like, a couple of years ago, it was like, I don't know, it seemed a little odd. But when the show started, I didn't care. I think she did a great job as Ellie. Um, and then season 2 starts. It's obviously the same actress. And people are bringing back the same issue that she doesn't look like Ellie. And then I saw a few comments on Reddit talking about um, how Caitlin Denver, the girl that plays Abby,
Yeah,
actually looks more like an older Ellie than Bella Ramsey does because Bella Ramsey looks exactly the same as she did in season 1, even though in the show it's
yeah,
supposed to be 5 years later. So then
yeah,
people are like, oh, they should have just recasted. They should have done this and this and that, blah, blah, blah. She still doesn't look like her. They're making memes about her face. And, um,
yeah,
but I saw another comment that I agree with that it's like, it's more, it's not so much about the look, but rather the energy that Ellie has. And I
yeah,
think Bella Ramsey does a good job at bringing that energy of Ellie, at least in season 1. Season 2,
yeah.
she should be a little bit more mature, but I don't know. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think she's fine. But what do you
You ready
think?
for my opinion?
Yeah, let's hear your opinion.
um,
She
having
sucks.
played the game, right, and I'm trying to keep that bias out of there because yes, beloved character, right? You can never get perfect looking characters, but then you see all the side by side photos of what could have been with Kaylee Spaney or even Caitlin Deaver.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think Kaylee Spaney was much more of a fit, and it's funny because they made her look like Ellie in the Aliens Romulus movie, because the director was such a fan of the game that kind of infused with Kaylee Spaney's like look in the movie. Anyway, um, so then you see that, and then you play the game, you see part 2, and you play part 2, and then you jump into season 2 of the show, and you're like, this is not consistent of what you play the character as, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get why they picked her for season 1. I get it, right? And I'm not saying she was a bad actress. Apparently she's a great actress, even in Game of Thrones. Um, and I get why they picked her because she had this innocent look to where she's like a kid. She has that semi spunk, which is like really good. It worked well with season 1, and I was fine with it. Um, season 2, like you said, she should be more mature, right?
Yeah.
You compare the part 1 and part 2 of Ellie's, they're totally different characters. One's a
Yes.
kid, one's more of like mature.
Yeah.
One that's gone through a lot of bad stuff and has grown from it. And then you jump into season 2 of the show and you're like, she's the same character. She's
Yeah.
the same person, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, this is jarring because you have all these other characters that are acting like adults.
Like it's
And
been
then you
5 years.
yeah, it's like been 5 years and you have all these interactions and it just looks like you have a bunch of adults still talking to a child. Like, and I don't know if it's because of her acting. Is it limited? Is it limited to this like kid character? Is it because the way she looks like a kid, so she has to act like a kid? Like, would it be jarring if her face, right, the way she looks like a kid, would that be jarring to have her act like an adult? So they had to like continue with this kiddish
Right.
kind of persona that she had? Were like forced with that? Or did they try to say, hey, let's get you acting like a mature, and she just couldn't do it? I don't know. And so they were like, okay, let's try to just save the show by by making everything else amazing. Just work around what Bella Ramsey's capabilities.
Yeah.
Not to say she's a bad
No, 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 I
actress,
get it.
right?
No, but you're right. I think I like the snarkiness that she had for season 1, the defiance that she had.
Yeah,
But
right. It worked.
but um it did bother me a little bit. I don't know. I don't remember if it was. I think it was episode 1 where her and Tommy are on a patrol
Yeah,
and she starts screaming, "I'm immune! I'm immune!" Like, and Tommy's like, "No, like, shut up." And
yeah, yeah,
yeah, and that at that point I was like, isn't she supposed to be like, more
yeah,
serious? Like she should have a more serious tone.
yeah, yeah,
And it just
yeah.
it didn't feel like it fit. That was
Yep.
the only part that was like overly. It was a little too much to the point where I was like, that doesn't fit. The rest of it it's fine. The episode 2, I think she did really good acting wise. I think she did really good when she finds Joel. I thought she did good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um,
I think I had another moment like that with when it was Ellie and Dina went to fight the clickers in that shop
oh yeah,
grocery store
yeah,
where like Dina's like super serious. She's like, okay, we gotta figure out a plan, and then it cuts to Ellie and she's like making all these jokes and like a super serious moment, right?
mm-hmm.
I was like, yo, this is this is serious. You gotta take it down a notch, right?
Yeah,
Uh, but then I can see why they also did it that way so that they can make light of the situation to like illustrate, Ellie's still fun personality. I don't know. It felt that also felt out of
it's
place
a
for
little
me.
odd. Okay, I'll be honest. I agree with the sentiment that it's about what the actor can bring to the table, and it's not always about looks. Like, I
Yeah.
stand by that 100%. But you bringing up that point too, it does make me wonder what it would have been like if they did recast her for
Recast,
somebody
right?
who could portray an older version of Ellie. I don't think anyone would have been mad to see a different actor portraying the character, um, because we know that it's 5 years later. And when you're a
Right.
child, when you're going from 14 to 19, it's a pretty big change appearance wise. Like look at a picture of you
Right?
at 14 and then look at a picture of you at 19. You look
Yeah,
different.
yeah.
You're gonna look different. So,
Yeah.
um,
And that's why I was like, that's goes back to my point. I'm like, is it because they like she didn't age fast enough? Or is she just Does she just look like one of those actors that just has a kid face, and so they didn't want to put an adult character into a kid, body face, and it would be look jarring. So I was like, maybe that's why they continued with the kid persona. I don't know. I
Well,
don't know.
how old is she, like in real life?
She's 21, I think.
Is really?
I think like she's 21 or 22. So that,
So she was born 2003.
yeah, 21 years old,
Yeah, she'll be 22 this year. Uh,
right? So it's like it
but
makes me wonder: does Bella act like that in real life?
oh, I think so. I think she's a bit of a goofball. Is that the right term?
Goofball, right?
But see, the
No,
thing
but like in
is,
terms of like I could see some of her personality breaking through, but like the moment you said where she's screaming, where she's saying, "Oh, I'm immune," or when uh she's making jokes when there's clickers abound, right?
hmm
Like it makes me wonder if Bella herself would act that way. Like I don't know if she would actually say that as well. So it goes back to the point of, are they still continuing her as the 14-year-old in this 19-year-old character's body? And that's where the disconnect for me is happening.
it's just interesting because she definitely has that face. Like she was in Game of Thrones from 2016 to 2019, and even like the last episode is 2019, she looks exactly the same. So she hasn't
Yeah, I'm
really.
saying.
She has. It's funny because I feel like a hypocrite right now because I'm like, you at 14 and 19, you look completely different, but she's literally 14, 15 here, and now is 21.
Yeah, right.
She actually looks the same. Um,
Like there's multiple layers to this. There's multiple layers, right? Yes, she
that's
looks the same in this comparison of side by side. She looks the same, right? First off, in the game, they had Ellie look more like this kid. In part two, they made her more like Ashley Johnson, the person that mocapped for Ellie.
mm-hmm.
And so obviously there was a more drastic change because they wanted to take the direction of her face model to be more aligned with the actress portraying her. And then second of all, um, Bella Ramsey, maybe she does have like a baby face, right? Where she has the ability to look young even in her older years, right? And then on top of that, it's the idea that this character went through something pretty traumatic and pretty crazy that would age someone pretty fast in terms of maturity,
Yeah, I mean it is true. It
right?
is an apocalyptic world that it yeah, it should age you even as a kid, a teenager going
Here,
into adulthood.
right?
Like,
Let me send you this. There's an image online, right, where you type in "war changing faces," right?
oh, yeah, I've
Where it's
seen
an
this.
image
Yes.
of a dude that went into war, and a soldier's face looks very young. He comes back and he just looks aged
Mm-hmm.
because he went through war after 4 years, just 4 years, right?
Yeah.
So it's that idea of like, yeah, it's gonna age you because you're going through very traumatic experiences and seeing a lot of things. So, uh, yeah, I don't know.
It could be that maybe she just had a contract and they couldn't break it. Like it could be as simple as that. Like, hey, she's gonna age with the show, and it'll make sense because she's
Yeah,
older anyway, and then she just looks the same. And they
yeah.
couldn't break the contract. I don't know. I don't know. What do you guys think, listeners? Do you agree that she should have been recast? Do you think she should have been a different girl from the beginning? Do you think she's fine the whole way through? Let us know. Comment section below. Let us know your thoughts on The Last of Us season 2. Uh, Do you agree with some of the thoughts and ideas that we came up with? Like other versions of what could have happened instead of what actually happened. We just want to hear your theories because there's a lot of talk going on. Last of Us season 2 is popular these days, so
Yep. And it's getting a lot of flack, which is good. That's marketing.
yeah.
But I'm curious to know. I want to be convinced that this is the direction it needs to go. Like I'm not the some. I don't want to say I'm a viewer that wants it to continue where it needs to do just because for the sake of copying what it needs to be. I'm fine with diverging into new territory if it makes the show better. But I want to be convinced so that way when I watch the show, I'd be like, okay, this is great.
Hmm.
Let me know. Let us know what your thoughts or your theories on that are.
Please do. And guys, I think this is it for today's episode. If you like this, if you enjoyed this content, please go ahead and give us a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share this with your friends, family. And we hope you had a good time joining us in this conversation today, talking about The Last of Us. And thanks again. I'm your host, Gato.
And I'm Gabe.
And we'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week. Peace.
Peace.